Wait, who says Yahoo? You say, yeah. Who says Yahoo? Wait, here we go. Washe kula, yeah. Washe kula, washe kula, yeah. Washe kula, every word you say will come to pass. Yeah. Washe kula, yeah. Let's say it in English. Say you fulfill your promises. Yahuwah, you fulfill your promises. Yahuwah, you say it. Yeah. Fulfill your promises. Yahuwah, you, yeah. Fulfill your promises. Yeah. You keep promises. Say every word you said will come to pass. So you keep promises. Yeah. You keep promises. Yeah. Say you keep promises. Yeah. You keep promises. So you keep promises. You keep promises. Here we go. I put my trust in you, yeah. Your word will never return void. It will accomplish all that you promised. You cannot lie. Oh, I put my trust in you, yeah. Your word will never return. It will accomplish all that you promised. You cannot lie. No, you can't lie. Everyone just say what comes to mind. You keep promising. Yeah, you keep promising. If you said it, it will happen. If you said it will come to pass. Keep promising. Oh, you fulfill your promises. You fulfill your promises. You always do what you say. You fulfill your promises. Yeah. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Sabbath day, happy Sabbath day. This is the day that the Most High have made. So let us be glad and rejoice in it this morning. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I hope your week has been a great week. I hope the Most High have really, truly blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and joy. I hope the Most High have really, truly blessed you, your offspring, with wisdom and knowledge and understanding of His word. I hope the Most High really, truly have blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and peace. My week have been an okay week. I ain't gonna complain too much. I can honestly say that it's been all right. I've been on vacation. I had to take care of some things this week, but I'm not really complaining too much. But what's up, Greg? How you doing? Shabbat Shalom to you, my brother. I want to go ahead and get started this morning, but I just want to say I truly now understand when Yahuwah was saying that I have taken the fish scales off your eyes. When he say, have I taken the fish scales off your eyes, I really truly understand now. Because it's so serious out here and we can't even see it because we're doing so many different things, you know. And see, let me say this. Sometimes our own physical desires can distract us from seeing what Yahuwah really got going on in the world. Because of what we want, how we want it, the way we want it, can make us not even see what's actually going on in the world and make us not even care about what's going on in the world because we're so entangled in what we want, we can miss what Yahuwah is doing. And it's going over a lot of people's heads and they can't even see it. And it's because they own physical desires and lust for themselves. Okay, it says in Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. It reads, and Ananias spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy Ananias, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Ananias before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. And I want you to hold fast to that one. Then it says, and thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, the Anani, am a jealous Anani, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah, the Anani, in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah the Anani. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou, nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days, in 6 days, thou shalt labor and do all thy works, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah the Anani. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou, nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore, if Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that thy day be long upon the land which Yahuwah the Anani giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbors, and thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservants, nor his maidservants, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Let us pray this morning. O creators of the heavens and earth, of our radiance and vibration, soften the grounds of our beings and carve out a space with us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear fruit of our missions. Let each of our actions bear fruits in accordance with our desires within your purpose for our life. Bestow us with the wisdom of produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled thread of destiny that binds us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which distracts us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of present moments. For you are the power and fulfillment, as all is gathered and made whole once again, so let it be. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to your kingdom, power to your glory forever and ever. So let it be. Amen, amen, amen. If you could turn to the book of Revelations. Turn to the book of Revelations, chapter 13. 11 through 18. And the key verse is verse 16. The key verse is verse 16. And it reads, and he said, he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Let me read that over. And he calls all, both rich, great, and rich, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. If I may give a title of the text today, the title of the teachings today is, it was all a distraction. It was all a distraction. The word distraction is a mid-15th century word. Distraction means confusion from a variety of ideas crowding on the minds and calling the attention different ways, causing for worries of the mind, means perplexity. Distraction is a 15th century word. It means confusion from a variety of ideas crowding on the minds and calling the attention different ways, causing the mind to worry, means perplex. And then the word control. Control is an early 15th century word. It means power, authority, government, commands. It means children should be under the control of their parents. The events of life are always under our control. It means check for accuracy or verify or regulate. Okay, let me read this one. This is what I taught on last week, but I want us to, this is a hard reality, man. I mean, one of the hardest realities that we have to deal with. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I sent it. Okay? Then let us go to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. It says, trust in Yahuwah with all thy hearts, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Okay? Winston Churchill put this out when he was coming up. He said, he quoted, never let a good crisis go to waste. The quote, never let a good crisis go to waste, is widely attributed to Winston Churchill, though some sources suggest it may have originated with Machiavelli. Regardless of the exact origin, the quote emphasized the idea that crisis can be opportunity for positive change and progress. It suggests that during challenging times, it's critical to identify and seize opportunities for innovations, reform, or improvement that may not be apparent during normal circumstance. Let me read that over. Winston Churchill quoted something from Machiavelli, said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." Okay, and the reason why they say that is it suggests that during challenging times, it is critical to identify and seize opportunities for innovations, reform, or improvement that might not be apparent during normal circumstance. Okay? So when we start to look back in history, let's just go back to 9/11. 9/11 was a situation that happened up in New York, if you want to call it, capital of the United States of America. And what happened during that time period, two of the tallest buildings in the city of New York, financial districts, collapsed because they said that two airplanes crashed into these buildings. And what happened during that time period, over 3,500 people was deleted or terminated during this moment. But they said that what happened was someone coming from overseas in an Arab country that was trained here in the United States used those two planes to crash into the Twin Towers. But understanding that those two that happened that day, what came from that moment, what came from that opportunity of crisis, what came from that moment of opportunity of crisis was called Homeland Security. That was the innovation of Homeland Security. That was innovation when they started to put all metal detectors and radar detectors and all this not ATF, but all these security checkpoints in airports. But it allows so many other surveillances to come into the country. That's when they had the ability to start tapping your phones, start putting cameras on every corner. They had the power to surveillance every home, every individual because of this one incidence of crisis. Winston Churchill said, "It is suggested that during challenging times, it is critical to identify and seize opportunities for innovations, reform, or improvement that might not be apparent during normal circumstances." So, at the time before 9/11, the government was never as large as it was prior to after 9/11. Because when Homeland Security came, it added on to the government maybe 100,000 or more employees because of security. Okay? But they say the reason why these things happen is because of the simple fact is these two planes crashed into these buildings. 1,000 people died because of this incident. Okay? That was the surveillance part. Then after that, we had we had Bill Clinton and President Barack Obama. They came in, Bill Clinton brought in the tech industry. After the tech industry, that's when you started to be utilizing online and search engines and all of these things. But after that, Obama came in and bailed out Homeland Security, bailed out the banks because of what was going on, the crisis. But the next biggest event or crisis that hit the United States after 9/11 was, and it was actually 9 years after the Twin Towers falling, was the COVID event that happened in the United States. COVID happened in 2019. The Twin Towers happened 9 years in 11. So that's 9 years after the fact, right? So what happened during the COVID time period, Amazon came on the scene. They put everybody in the house, told them don't go outside. They confined people to the house. So what did people started to do? Started to jump online, use technology to be able to order things offline. Instacart, Uber, huh?
I said in the store set up the pull up, out, come up.
Say it loud.
And the big box stores set up the delivery pull up, come out. They bring the things out to the car.
Right, and then they also started Uber, Lyft. They started Uber Eats. They started all these things where you don't necessarily have to leave your house in order to be able to get the things that you need. But then also, it was so many other dynamics that was coming into it because they was testing the population on a global scale to see how you would respond to a global crisis. See how quick and fast you would respond to something that appears to be bad, but in actuality is not as bad as it appeared to be. But because how they presented it made you feel like it was a global crisis, and it caused us as humans or the population to respond in ways that it would cause death, or it was detrimental to the people. So when COVID hit in 2019 and 2020, they brought all this stuff out to be able to start removing you from going outside, but taking us into taking us out of the industrial age into the technology age of life. Understanding that we was leaving the industrial age and going into the technology age of life. Right? So now we're at this point here where we are 5 years after COVID. Now we're hearing of wars and rumors of wars and these things here. And now what was the biggest event last week was, the last 12 days, was Israel and Iran fighting. Israel and Iran fighting. What's up, Brother Drew? Israel and Iran fighting. They was fighting for 12 days. Right? But what happened last week was very monumental, but we never paid any attention to it because we were so distracted from so many other things that we could not even pay attention to what's actually going on right in front of our faces. Because they have our hair pulled out in so many different directions, we don't even actually know what's actually going on because we're so distracted. Distracted means confusion from a variety of ideas crowding on the mind, calling the attention different ways. We're not able to focus on what's actually at hand because we're worried about what's going on with Israel and Iran. We're worried about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Then we're worried about what's going on with the economy, with the job layoff. Then we're worried about what's going on in our household because some of us are sick and passing away. Then we're worried about what's going on with the job. So we're actually not really concerned about what's actually taking place in the spiritual realm. But what actually happened last week was the Genius Act that was passed. The Genius Act that was passed. Okay? It said what to know about the Genius Act, a crypto regulation. Now they're starting to implement digital currency into the United States financial institutions. Okay? It says this right here. This came out June 18, 2025, 10:44 a.m. on the ABC News. It says the Senate voted 68-30 last Tuesday to pass the Genius Act, a bill that aims to regulate some cryptocurrencies. During this time when they was bidding on the Genius Act, we were so much paying attention to what was going on over in Iran and Israel, not realizing that these peoples was continuing to push an agenda because they have found a crisis to distract us, to bring in more innovations, right? It says the bill faced some Democratic oppositions over President Donald Trump cryptocurrency ventures, but has ultimately garnered support from 18 Democrats, including Senator Cory Booker. The industry-backed measures establish rules targeting stable coins, a type of cryptocurrency pegged to the value of another asset, often the US dollar. So what they're getting ready to do right now, they're getting ready to do is push us away from the US dollar and start pushing us into digital currency. And see, what happened to me that's one article, right? And then, like what happened to me last week, and I put it on Facebook. I was downtown in the city of Atlanta, and my mind was blown because I was riding around beside self-driving cars. And see, the city of Atlanta is supposed to be a smart city. The city of Atlanta is supposed to be a smart city. And what they're trying to do within those smart cities is use those cities as a technology-based city where people don't have to use cars to drive because they got self-driving cars now. They have all the amenities within a certain area where they don't have to go anywhere but stay within the Atlanta Beltline. That's why they built the Atlanta Beltline, so that those people will be confined to those areas where they won't have to leave the city of Atlanta because they got all the amenities that they need within the city. And they're going to slowly but surely start pushing cars out the city. Why? Because they got Waymo, Waymo. They got Waymo in the cities where the people can only use Waymo vehicles to take them wherever they need to go within the smart city. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this is happening right in front of our faces, and we cannot even pay attention to it. And we're not paying attention to it because we're so distracted by so many different things. Okay? So when we're looking at digital currency coming in through the Genius Act, right? First, I had to ask this question here. I said, is the digital age part of the New World Order? It says the digital age is significantly impacting the global landscape and prompting discussions about a potential New World Order, but not in a way that is definitely established a new, but unified global structure. Unified global structure. Instead, the digital age is contributing to a more complex, ambiguous, and fluid global environment characterized by shifting powers dynamic and a new form of competition. See, what's happening on the earth today is not just centered here in the United States, it's not just centered in Iran, it's not just centered in Russia, China. It's a global thing that's happening. It is very global. And see, when we read the Bible is not a United States thing. It is a global book. It is going to the four corners of the earth. So whatever happens here in the United States, it is happening throughout the whole global system. Understand that. So when we're looking at this digital age, the digital age is not just coming here to America, it's coming all over the world. And all countries and all leaders have to be on the same accord. And the reason why I say that is this right here, and I want us to understand. I'm finna get ready to get to the teachings in a minute, but it's so deep. It's so powerful. I mean, sometimes it's so many different layers to this thing that it's hard for us to even understand it. One thing I want us to understand is this right here, Ephesians 6 and 12. Because if we understand that the Bible is a global book, yes, I agree with you, Drew. I definitely agree with you. You're 100% right. Then it says, in Ephesians 6 and 12, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. See, this world is not just the United States. The world is not just Iran. The world is not just Israel. The world is not just China. The world is not just Russia, India, Palestine, and Turkey. And the world is a global world. But it says against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against the spiritual wickedness in high places. So when we understand that all governmental systems are being controlled by this dark entity, we have to look at things from a different viewpoint, because the simple fact that we can't just concentrate it here in the United States. We can't just concentrate it here over there in Russia or Iran or China, whatever. It is a collective scheme that is all of it is working together for Revelations chapter 12, or chapter 13, or for the word of Yahuwah. Everybody are doing their part to make this thing come together. So we can't say that one country is better than the other, but all countries are doing it for their purpose. Okay, so we understand that the digital age is taking us into the global new world order, right? Because let us read this again in Exodus chapter 20, right? Exodus chapter 20, verse 4. This is what got me just a minute ago. It says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Can I ask you this question here? Does a robot represent a graven image that is on the earth? Can a robot, because now you can have grown folk, you can handle grown folk business with robots. You now can have intercourse with the robots. You do know that, right? And now because you're able to have intercourse with robots, you don't necessarily need the other person. They have made movies out where men have made robots to be their wives or their husbands. And it is moving men and women away from being natural and dealing with them natural selves. Because now men and women can go out there and buy them a doll or go out there and buy them a robot to do whatever they want that robot to do. That's why I'm just asking this question. Any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above or that is in the earth beneath. We are humans are on the earth beneath. We are on the earth. And we're glorifying robots and AI technology. Okay? So now we're moving into the digital age, and he said, don't make anything any likeness of anything that is in heaven above the earth beneath. So now when we're looking at that, we're moving into the digital age. Understanding that now, Winston Churchill said that he got every opportunity, every crisis, it is a time to bring out new innovations, reform, and all of those things. Understanding after 9/11 when all this stuff hit with Homeland Security. Understanding after COVID, when COVID hit, the innovation exploded. We didn't have self-driving cars in 2025. Tesla wasn't out in 2025. Huh? When did Tesla come out with cars? Tesla wasn't out in 2025, 2020. We didn't hear nothing about no Teslas. When did Tesla come out? First car come out in the United States. So when we're looking at that, I pulled up some other
2008
Tesla cars came out in 2008
was released.
in the United States.
Elon came involved in 2004. It was incorporated in 2003.
Okay, when the first car hit 2000 in the United States. Okay, now it says the Genius. I put up another. I said, well, how will the Genius Act affect the population? The Genius Act, which aims to regulate stable currencies, stable coins, is expected to have several significant effects on the population if it becomes law. Now, understanding what stablecoin is doing is taking away the dollar bill and bringing in digital currency. Okay? Let me go ahead and do this real fast. Okay, digital currency. Okay. Stablecoin is going to get ready to start replacing digital currencies. Okay, stable coins are the cryptocurrencies, right? I Googled what patents has 666, okay? What patents has 666? Several patents or patents applications are associated with the number 666 in some ways. Most notably, WO 2020 060606. Cryptocurrency systems using body activity data. This is the patent application, not a granted patent filed by Microsoft. It describes a system that uses listen to this. It describes a system that uses body activity data to potentially mine or earn cryptocurrencies. It does not involve the implant of microchips. Misinformation about this patent application has falsely claimed it is related to microchipping people for surveillance or control, especially in connection with Bill Gates. So now we understand. We understand that the cryptocurrency is here, but also a stable coin, which comes up under the Genius Act, which also is bringing on cryptocurrency. But also, cryptocurrency is a patent from Microsoft, and the patent number is 060606, which is 666. Understand that, okay? Then it says, let me do something else. And then I get started in a minute because I've been online searching this morning, right? Because Winston Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. We can always bring in innovation, reform, and all this other stuff, right? I Googled this morning, are they making Palestinian refugees get microchip? That's what I Googled. Listen to this. I Google, are they making Palestinian refugees get microchip? Listen to this. It is important to rely on credible sources for information regarding sensitive topics like humanitarian aid. Listen to this. While there have been reports and discussions about using biometric technology for the aid distributions in Gaza, primarily under a system supported by a U.S.-backed group. There's no widespread mandate for Palestinians refugees for receiving microchips for food. Understand that. They caused the crisis to bring in innovation. They caused the crisis to bring in innovations. What's the innovations? Cryptocurrency and microchipping everybody. Over there in Africa, in a country in Africa, I think it's Kenya, they are now microchipping newborn babies. That's why I say when we're looking at the Bible is not just a United States book. It is a global book. It is hitting the four corners of the earth. Okay, so now it says they're doing biometrics and microchipping people in Gaza. They created the conditions, right? Let me give you one more, and then I'm gonna get started. I said, will humans be implanted with microchips, part of the digital age? Listen to this. It is increasingly likely that human microchips implants will become a part of the digital age as the technology continues to advance and explores various applications. So when we're looking at Israel and Iran and Russia and Ukraine and P. Diddy and all this stuff going on with the Epstein's files and the papers and all this stuff that's going on over in the world, they're distracting us from everything that's going on, even with the COVID, even with 9/11, even with all this stuff. They're passing laws to be able to continue to control us to on a level that we don't even have no way of thinking. So now when we go to the book of Revelation, right?
Wow. The chip gonna work.
I want you to look at verse 1 and 2 in chapter 13 of Revelation. Because I want us to understand this.
Oh, I can make it.
I want us to understand something. Let me read you one more and then I'm gonna get started. It says, I Google, is biometrics digital ID integration part of the Genius Act? It says, based on the information available, the Genius Act primarily focuses on regulating payment stablecoins, while it includes provision for customer identification programs and compliance with anti-money laundering and sanction laws. It does not explicitly integrate biometric digital ID as part of its requirements. Not saying that it won't. They just saying as of now, it won't. And also, let me say something to you. Those people who uses your facial recognitions to be able to open up your phones, to be able to do all that stuff, that's biometrics digital ID to integration. Anytime you use your thumbprint, your handprint to be to be able to open up your phones or anything like that, you are part of the biometrics digital ID integration.
Feeding it.
And we're going along just doing it, and they're presenting this to us so as if it is convenient. But your convenience is
Feeding the beast.
feeding the beast, but it's also putting you in prison to the system. Okay? So now let us go ahead and I want you to understand something. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. It says, and I stood upon the sands of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the names of the blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Okay, so now when we're looking at this verse here, right? When we're looking at this verse here, we go back to verse 1. It says 7 heads are 7 mountains. 7 mountains are 7 kings. Okay? So we got looking at the 7 kings. Then it says the 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns. Those are 10 kings as well. That is the brick nation right there. So we got to understand that all these nations and all these kings that are running these countries are ran by the devil, the Hashatan. See, we got to realize this right here. We got to realize this right here. Go to Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. This is very important for us to understand the scenario, the situation, the conditions. These kingdoms, these 10 kingdoms, these 10 horns are ran by nations, a ruler. But in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, it says the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angel was cast out with him. So when the devil was cast out of the heavens and he started to control the earth, we got to realize, we got to ask the question, how did he control the whole earth? Who did he control it through? The devil controlled the whole earth through the leaders, the rulers, the governmental powers. That's how the Hashatan did it. That's how the devil did it. So when he did it that way, undeniably, unknowing, the rulers of this world was pushing the Antichrist system. And we're voting these people into office to continue to control us and put us in a demonic system. And we're not even knowing it because we're putting our trust in man. And when the Most High said, never put your trust in prince or the son of man because there's no help for you. So now when we're starting to see all this technology that comes about, this technology here is to control us and to confine us to a system through the leaders that is on the earth. So now when we're looking at what's going on over here, we're not looking at the Genius Act that was passed, but we're not looking at let me pull one more article up. I said, can digital currency control users of purchase? The concept whether digital currency can control users' purchase is a complex one, with different types of digital currencies having a different level of central control on the potential for surveillance. Did you hear that? The surveillance started in 9/11. The surveillance started in 9/11. Some sources suggest that CBDC, as a digital form of flat currency issued and controlled by central bank, could potentially be designed with features that allow for surveillance and restrictions on how people spend their money. So now when we understand in chapter 13, 1 and 2, that the dragon gave the first beast power and authority to rule the world. But we got to let's go down to verse 7 so we can truly understand what these countries are really, literally doing. Because we understand that the beast gave the authority to these kingdoms to do a specific reason. What was that reason? It was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. The reason why these people are in charge of the earth the way they are is that they're trying to destroy the people for Hashatan's sake. They're not doing nothing for our benefit. They're doing it for the Hashatan benefit. Everything that we see going on today is for the benefit of Hashatan, not for the benefit of Yahuwah. Nothing we see today in the earth today is beneficial for us, because they're distracting us from football, basketball. They're distracting us from the word because they're presenting us with football, basketball, baseball, hockey, tennis, and all that. Then entertainment, Diddy. Epstein did entertainment. Then they go to political Ponzi's, like the sister down there in Texas. Then they'll do the wars and rumors of wars, and then they'll start saying we need to mess with the economy. They're distracting us from everything.
And use some of us to use
And you and do what now?
use some of us for their agenda, like this right here. This is a
What is that?
um, new technology robotic store. Walk in, get your purchases, and leave.
Okay, let me see it. This is a new store that's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah,
And it's talking about how they're getting ready to innovate stores. It says who we are. And it's a store. It says they began their journey in the food industry after their oldest son was diagnosed with autism. This experience made them realize that everyone deserved access to healthy foods. And through their nourish and boom market, they will be able to accomplish their goals. Nourish and Plus Boom Market is the first autonomous grocery stores with robotic delivery in the United States, and the first African American owned autonomous grocery store in the world. Nourish and Boom is on a mission to making eating healthy and convenient. We believe that everyone deserves access to healthy foods. So what the people have to do is just they go into the grocery stores and just walk right out without even having to, talk to anybody for anything. So that is where the technology is going. And some of us will look at it and say, well, that's good, that's good, that's good. But in actuality, it's not good. It's not good at all because I just read you where cryptocurrency is going to have the abilities to cut off what you eat and what you don't eat. They're going to be able to stop you from buying whatever you want to buy. So we have to understand that. So now let us go ahead and get started on verse 11 through 12 because we got to understand what is how is this? I really haven't heard anybody say, well, how will they make us take the mark of the beast? What conditions we will be under to be able to take the mark of the beast? They never told us, the Bible never told us, or if it did, we got to put it together with a lot of research. But now when we see what's going on over in Gaza, and we see some countries in Africa, they're making them take microchips or biometric scans or technology. Now we see that they're putting certain conditions in the earth to starve the people out so that they will be forced to take the mark of the beast. It's not going to be something that is offered. It's going to be something that looks as if it's convenient or you're forced to be in that situation. Okay? So now when we go down to verse 11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. He had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. That's his abilities and the power that he had. Okay? And listen to this. This is the most important thing to understand the second beast. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. Okay? And caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So what did the first beast do? The first beast, in verse 7, it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all the kindreds and tongues and nations. So the second beast, his job was to make war with the saints, the people who believed in Yahuwah. And see, sometimes we think the nations and these rulers are for us, but in actuality, they are against us. Who believe in putting fluoride in water? Who believe in putting chemtrails in the air? Who would believe in creating storms? Who believe in all that stuff? So when we're looking at this thing from a reality moment, it's so much deeper and greater than we could ever imagine. But we're putting our trust in these people who's working for the Hashatan. That's why they put all these distractions out here to stop you from looking at what's going on. They'll put the distractions on the left, but we're not looking at the right to see what's actually going on. Because the second beast had the same power. The power of the first beast was to make war with the saints. Now the second beast had the same power to make war with the saints again. There's no difference. But we're not looking at it that way. Our viewpoint is not looking at it like in Ephesians 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and wicked places, and the rulers of this darkness in this world. We're not looking at it from that. We're looking at it from, oh, I vote for him because it's the Democrats against Republicans. We're not looking at it on a more deeper scale. Then he said he caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, and whose deadly wound was healed. See, that's the second beast's job, is to make war with us and to make us continue to worship the devil. Because it says this in verse 2. It says in verse 2 and 13, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. He had speed, and he had the feet of a bear. He had power, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. He had authority. And the dragon, the devil, gave him his power and his seat and great authority. See, the dragon represents the Hashatan. So the same Hashatan that was ruling the first beast is ruling the second beast. So whatever we're doing in this world today that is associated with the world, we're worshiping the devil. We're worshiping the devil. That's why he said you cannot, if you love the world, you're at war with me. He said you're an enemy of mine if you if you love the world. I had to find that. Yeah, it says this in John 4 and 4, right? No, James 4 and 4. It says, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is an enemy with Ananias? And whosoever therefore be a friend of the world is an enemy of Ananias. The reason why he's saying that is because the Hashatan is ruling the world and controlling the world. So now if you're loving the world and you're a friend of the world, That means that you're worshiping the devil. That means that you're worshiping everything that comes with the world, because the devil is controlling all leaderships on the earth. And he's controlling everything within it. Who's putting out this AI? Who brought in 9/11? Who brought in the COVID? Who brought in all this other stuff? The leaders who's controlled by the Hashitans. These governments are implementing these policies. These governments are implementing these policies that make these laws for us. And creating smart cities, innovating AI technology. So when we're looking at it, that's why he said in James, you adulterous and adulteress, and adulteress, know ye not that the friendship of this world is an enemy with Ananias? Because you're worshiping the devil as your friend to the world. Let us go back to Revelation chapter 13. Because the first beast was worshiping the dragon. Now the second beast is doing the same thing. And both of them had the same purposes. It's to make war with the saints. To make the people do what the devil wanted them to do. Because he said again in verse 13, in verse 12, he exercised all the power of the first beast. He exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, which was the devil, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come from the heavens on the earth in the sight of man, and deceive them that dwells on the earth. See, what we think we see is not really what we see. That's what the devil did. That's what the first beast did through the nations. That's what the second beast is doing through the nations. And the first and the second beast is operating with the power of the Hashatan. To do what? Deceive them that dwells on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. And the devil gave him, out of Hashatan, gave them that power. It says, saying to them that dwells on the earth that they should make an image of the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Listen to that. Listen to this. And that's what I'm going to sit here and talk about for a second. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. But listen to this part right again. He had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Do y'all know they have robots as soldiers now? They have robots on the battlefield. They have robots as police officers. They have robots, huh?
The robot dogs.
They have robot dogs as police officers. They got robots, everything now implemented into the system. They got robots that's doing surgeries, all these different things. Understand that. Let us go to Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. Because I want us to understand something. When we're talking about the image of the beast and it gave him the power to speak and to kill, it's no different than what the Most High did with us. In Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. And see, this is in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And Yahuwah Ananiah formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Everything that wherever a robot came from, it's the same place the man came from. The dust of the ground. Everything that a robot came from is where a human came from. The same ingredients that a robot got in him is the same ingredients that we got in us, in our melon, in our skin. Because we came from the nutrients of the dirt. Google it. We got iron in our body. We got potassium in our body. We got everything in the dirt. We got it in us. That's why they say you got to take more iron pills. What you mean iron pills? That's a metal. No, that iron does something different for you. But iron literally can come out the dirt and create a robot. Look it up. Everything. And I'm not, but what I'm just saying is we're going into this digital age and they're replacing robots for humans. Then there's no need for humans like it was a long time ago. The things that we used to do as human, robots are doing it now. A lot of things. They don't need them as customer service representatives. They don't need them as cook. They don't need them as laborers. They don't need them as drivers. They don't need them as. I saw a robot who was preaching. So they don't need us like that no more. The same way man formed robots, it's the same way the Most High formed us out of the dust of the ground. Let us go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 14, because all the stuff that we use from robots and our telephones and all that stuff come out of the earth. It's minerals. It's come out the dirt. Come out the earth. That's the same way man created everything. That's right, Greg. You just saw a movie the other day about robots taking over the earth. Absolutely. And see, when we look at that, if we Google what's the ingredients of the melanin in the skin of the person, it's going to show you everything comes out of the dirt. And we got to realize that robots are built out of the dirt. They built out of every minerals, every gold. They built with gold, silver.
Aluminum, steel, titanium.
Right, all of that. But it comes where it comes from. Where it comes from? The earth. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 14. They don't need us no more. Humans are becoming non-existent to the Hashatan because we was created in the Most High's image. So the things that the Hashatan hate is what was created in the Most High's image, which is us. So what you think he's going to try to do? Destroy us because we was created in his image. So he's going to now create something in his image that replaced everything that the Most High made. I know that sounds so crazy and so far-fetched, but it's real. Is it hard to believe? Yes, it's very hard to believe. Okay, in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 14, it says, every man is Brutus in his... Like I just said earlier, Greg, they are now making robots that you can be able to be intimate with a robot. They're replacing men and women with robots. And to be able to be intimate. I would not be surprised if they're starting to be able to help robots have babies or house the child. Yes, you're right. Okay, and it says, and every man is rooted in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is the falsehood, and there's no breath in them. Understanding that there ain't no breath in no robot. They're working off of energy. They're working off power. They're working off the battery. But we're starting to love this robot because it gives us so many conveniences. But the robot is created by man. Who's controlling the government? Who's controlling man? The government. Who's controlling the government? The Hashatan, the devil. And see, most of this Waymo technology came from Georgia Tech. The Georgia Tech students are creating their own captivity, their own destruction, because they're getting governmental grants to be able to push these programs. They're not realizing that they're bringing captivity to their own people. And see, it says again, in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 14, every man is rooted in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood. There's no breath in them. Ain't no breath in no robot. You got to go put him on a charger before he fall off, before he die. And let us go to James chapter 2. Because this technology now that we're in, the technology age, which is a demonic age, it's taking us to the New World Order. It's bringing on captivity. But they have to have a crisis in order to bring on the opportunities. Don't be surprised if the banks fall, because they cannot bring on the cryptocurrencies to replace the dollar while the banking system is still in play. They got to be able to crash the banking system in order for the digital currencies to be controlled by the CBDC and everything be controlled by the government. Because an individual bank cannot tell you what you can and can't purchase, because they don't have the abilities to do that. Because they don't have the abilities to do that, they can't tell you, oh, you can't go buy no pork for yourself, or you can't go do whatever. The banking system has to be annihilated out of the way, where the governmental system has the abilities to go through your profile and tell you what you can and what you can't purchase. So that's something that we got to understand. The banks can't tell you. They just issue out money and loans. That's all they do. They issue you out money, they'll issue out a loan, or they'll take payments. But this new digital currency come in, they don't have that abilities. They would have to get that abilities from the government, and the government would have the right to be able to tell you that. Then it says, as in James chapter 2, verse 2, it says, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead. So these things that we're seeing, these robots that we see today, they're dead inventions. They don't have no spirit, no life in them. They don't have the thinking capacity to think on a spiritual level or a moral level. They're only doing what they're programmed to do. And even when you go look on, even when you Google things on the internet, it's coming from AI viewpoint. And that could be misconstrued.
Yep. Telling stuff ain't true.
It's like, we was at Rock, what was that, what was that yesterday?
False.
We was at Ruby Falls yesterday, right? And this guy had bought Ruby Falls in 1928, right? But he said the first visitor was there in 1930.
29.
Huh?
29.
1929, the first visitors, but the first guy who went through Ruby Falls was in 1930, right? So I had to ask the question, I asked the guy the question, I said, well, how much rock did they have to break in order to be able to get Ruby Falls for people to be able to go down there and see the big falls in Ruby Falls? They said they had to knock down a lot of rock to be able to get it. I said, okay. I said I want to ask a question on Google. Who had Ruby Falls before the owners? And they said it was the Cherokee Indians had Ruby Falls and used Ruby Falls as a lookout point, as a place of worship, as a place, because the waterfall is 90 feet high. So they using it for a ritual point for over thousands of years, even before the Europeans got there. But what they did, the Europeans stole it from basically the Cherokee Indians, but they tried to make it sound another way. But when I Googled the information, Google wouldn't tell us, AI did not tell us that the people who bought Ruby Falls actually bought something that was already established. They trying to make these people seem like they was heroes, and they created this big waterfall and all this other stuff, when in actuality it was already there. So you really gonna have to do some thorough investigations when you're pulling up AI or Google, because Google can lie to you because it's being programmed by man. Understand that.
Like AI said, detoxing don't work.
What you say?
I had a client to Google detoxing and came up. AI said that it doesn't work. The person put something in the water to make your detox turn, and the client.
You gotta understand that they need to hear you. You talking to them. So my wife does detox, and she Googled a client does detox and work, but AI came out and said no,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work. They put something in the water.
And the client was sitting there saying, "Wow, this is."
So AI can be programmed to lie. AI can be programmed to do whatever the programmer wanted to do. It's to control the masses of people. So now let us go back to Revelation, chapter 13, verse 15. So now we got to understand that AI is working for the government, the people who's behind the joystick. We are under a new technology, I'm telling you. We're up under a new technology now because they're using drones over in Afghanistan and the person is in California. The police departments are using drones now to follow people instead of dispatching police officers to the scene. They'll just find that wherever the call is coming from, they would dispatch a drone to the scene to be able to get a picture of what's going on, and then they will follow the person with the drone instead of using the police officer. So it's just so much technology that's going on. It's crazy. Okay, so now the conditions are the power that the beast gave the first and second was to be able to bring destruction upon the people. Because the Hashtan gave the first beast and the second beast the same power. And that was to change the laws, statutes, commandments, but also to bring havoc upon the people. That's the power that it had. So now, what was the conditions like? What would the conditions be in order to make the people be able to receive the mark? We can look at Gaza, how Gaza look. Gaza look bad. So now the people over in Gaza are taking microchips to be able to get food distributions. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6, verse 8. Because we got to understand it has to be we have to be in a certain conditions to be able to receive that mark. People ain't just going to receive that mark in a normal crisis, in a normal situation, because they won't need it. Because Winston Churchill said, it is suggested that during challenging times, it is critical to identify and seize opportunities for innovation and reform or improvement that might not be apparent during normal circumstances. There won't be a need for it if it's in a normal circumstance, but you create something different, it'll be a need for it. So now the governmental system has the power to make war with the people, bring conflict, bring death, right? But now this is the circumstances. The circumstances is in Revelation 6 and 8. It says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on it was Death, and hell followed with him. And powers was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. That will make people do anything. What made people take the because they was hearing a bunch of death that was going on. What made people take that jab? Because of the conditions that they saw. They had to get it to travel. They had to do all of that. So we got to understand the governmental system is going to create a condition that will force us to take certain things that we know that ain't good for us. They're going to create these situations. But that's why we got to have the mark of the Most High in our forehead so we won't take it. Let us go to Daniel chapter 11. Verse 36 through 39. Because we have to understand that the Most High is going to test his saints to see how faithful you are to him. In Daniel 11 and 36 through 39, it says, and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the gods of his fathers, nor the desires of woman, nor regard any god, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, a God whom his father knew not shall he honor with gold and silver, and with the precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most stronghold with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the lands for gain. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. And he shall enter into the country and shall overflow and pass over. So this king is going to do whatever he want to do, how he want to do it. And see, this is what I was talking about maybe 2 weeks ago. The reality that we're living in now is just in a different time span, but rulerships are doing the same thing now that they did back then. They did it the way they want to do it, how they want to do it. Because it says in the first verse in 36, and the king shall do according to his will. All kingdoms are doing according to his will. All kings are. So that's the conditions. That's the conditions. Last one on this one is Revelation chapter 11. Let's go to that one. Because we got to understand the conditions is when the kings want to do what he want to do, how he want to do it, the way he want to do it. Then the people are going to be dying from pestilence and death and famine and hunger because they got to set up this condition so that these people would take the mark. 11, verse 11. That's why I've been telling people you better prep. You better get you some food and water because don't put yourself in a condition where you're vulnerable to the government, where they'll come in and force you to take this mark because you're hungry and you're about to die, you're sick, and you need health. They can make you take it from so many different ways. Revelation 11 and 7, it says, and when they shall finish their testimonies, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. So, and their dead bodies shall line the streets of the city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So they're going to come after us when the conditions are going to be, you're going to be hungry. You're going to see a lot of death out here because if you don't take the mark, they can make you take the mark of the beast if you need medications. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, all these drugs that you own, the government can say, hey, I'm going to make you take this. You can get your medicine, but you got to take this microchip. You can get this job, but you got to take this microchip. You can get this food, but you got to take this microchip. Or if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to make you take the microchip. They can force or you can do it voluntarily. That's the thing. They can force you to do it or you can do it voluntarily. And that's the conditions that the governmental system is going to be having us up under. Okay, so let's go back to Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. Verse 16. Because what got me was, in verse 16, he says, he calls all. But he never said how he calls it. So we got to find out what is the conditions to make the rich take it. How can he make the rich take the mark? We can understand how he can make the poor. He can force the poor to do it forcefully or make them hungry. Or they can see death. But how did he force the rich to take it? What was the conditions that the rich voluntarily took the mark of the beast? What was the conditions for the free and the slave? The bond means the people in jail. He can force the people in jail to take it. But he can't force the people that's free to take it. What are the conditions? What are the free people going through to make them voluntarily take that mark? That's something we got to think about. We understand Gaza. We understand over in Africa. But what will want somebody to take it that is free? What will want somebody to take it that is rich? Why would they take it? You can't play no more basketball if you can't take it. You can't be no more NFL player because they forced them to take it. The jab, the NFL, the NBA, the NFL, the Major League Baseball, they had to take it. Some people couldn't go to work if you didn't take it. That's the conditions. So now in verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So when we're looking at it, right, what does the mark look like? We can look at it as a biometric. We can look at it as a microchip. We can look at it as scanning on the forehead. What does the mark look like? Let's go to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 6. Because it's playing right in our face, and sometimes we're so distracted by other stuff, not realizing that we're being controlled. Because we never thought that COVID could be a gateway to the mark of the beast. We never thought that. Because it showed us right in front of our face, either you can do it voluntarily or either I'm going to force you to do it. Either if you go to work, I'm going to make you pay it. If you want to play sports, I'm going to make you pay it. If you want to fly and do entertainment, I'm going to make you pay it. I'm going to make you take it. So I'm going to make you take it one way or another. Or the poor. You can't get treatment if you don't take it. Some people was refused medical treatment because they didn't take the COVID. They didn't take the jab. Some people literally was not able to get organs transplants because they didn't take it. And it's right in front of our face, but we can't even see it because we're so distracted by so many other things, we're not even realizing that we're in this level. So I'm going to give you two of these and then I'm done.
That was a freebie.
Zechariah 13 and 6, it says, and one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thy hand? Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friend. So that you're going to be able to recognize. Okay, I had a friend at work, right? He took the jab, right? And I was able to put a magnet on his arm, and it showed me that he had took the jab. The magnet was stuck on his arm where he couldn't move his arm. Well, you couldn't move the magnet because he took that thing. So you're going to be able to recognize it's going to be a scar, it's going to be a mark, it's going to be something. Let us go to Revelation chapter 14, and that's it. I don't have y'all on here long enough. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 through 11. It says, Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 through 11, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark on his forehead or in his hand, man. And see, that could have been the Q-tip that was given a test. That could have been a Q-tip that was given a test. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Adonai, which is poured out with mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstones in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torments to ascend up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night. And they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image. And whosoever received the mark of his name. So, it's a lot of stuff going on out here. And sometimes we can be so distracted by what we think we see, even though it may be reality. But we got to still say, okay, I see this, but what's going on with the governmental system? What laws are they passing during this time? Because we understand they're going to use a crisis for innovation and reform. But what kind of innovation and reform are they passing? That's something I think we need to look at. Because, like I said, it's always a distraction. And distraction is our for controlling mechanisms. And so we got to understand that these governmental powers are still up under the control of the Hashatan to be able to and try to impose their beliefs on the people. And they're going to use conditions to make people take the mark of the beast. They're going to use conditions out here today to make people take the mark of the beast, just like over in Gaza and over in Africa. They told people that was incarcerated, if you want to get out early, take the jab. So understand where we are. Understand what's actually going on in the world. So, Father, as we come to you today, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you. Father, we give you all the honor and the glory. Father, we thank you for everything you have done, what you continue to do. Father, we just ask that you continue to be with us. Lead us and guide us. Father, let us continue to understand your word. Let us hear the way you want us to hear, understand the way, see the way you want us to see, and speak the way you want us to speak. Father, we ask that you continue to just cover us and direct our path and protect us as we travel the highways and byways, Father. And all these things we pray in your higher name. So let it be. And thank you all for listening to me. Thank you all for everything that you do. Thank you for the book again. And you all have a blessed one. Later.
I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, let me catch my balance. Why I need that balance? I gotta be honest, I never stepped foot in the college, but I'm packing a lot of knowledge. But now that it's work, cause the wisdom is foolish, I'm more like retarded. This shit is so garbage. See me, I'm a scholar, I look into all of the history. I was like, damn, are you kidding me? So many lies being told, it's sickening. You can't believe anything from the enemy. People get mad when you tell them that. They also get mad when you show them facts. I really don't trip, I just fall back. I ain't got time for all that. Knowledge is power too bad. My people don't want it, they rather be ignorant. I just don't get it. Maybe one day they will humble themselves and shut up and listen. Picture a nation of people who all stood together, who all had the power, was scared of nobody. In fact, everybody was scared of them because of the God who was over them, giving them all of the secrets like telekinesis to bind up the demons. And no one I reach, and I really believe it. I higher my power, he gave me the vision to see it. And for that, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, let me catch my balance. Why I need that balance? I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, I feel like I'm blessed, I feel like I'm cursed, let me catch my balance. Why I need that balance? Everything I know comes from the one who resides in me, the one who's guiding me, the one that fight for me, who gave me eyes to see all the things on this plane of existence. I wanted to get it, the veil's been lifted, they think that I'm twisted. I might be, there ain't too many that's like me, I'm tripping. There ain't nobody that's like me, I'm too cold like Gucci Man, I'm icy, I'm a Torah believer, command to keep it. I practice what I'm preaching and out of season. I feel the most high for multiple reasons, don't know it all either. That's why I be seeking this life that we live in is only a test. Though I'm not perfect, I'm doing my best. I'm striving to be like the God that's within me. I don't wanna go to hell like the rest. Blessings and curses and blessings for years. I've been trying to link up with the brethren so we can be an example to others, regardless of all of our differences. Unity is what we need for real. Y'all know what time it is. I'ma keep it a band. Damn how you feel straight up. I just want you to live. I feel like
You all have a blessed one.
cursed. I feel like I'm blessed. I feel like I'm cursed. I feel like I'm blessed. I feel like I'm cursed. I feel like